What's going on, fam? I first want to appreciate everybody that supports me, through this journey that I've been doing on YouTube and through life, period. All the people that rock with Deezy, that rock with SBGB TV. And, Deezy been working on something for a while now. And I didn't want to speak about it until it was solidified. And now that things are what they are, I can speak about it. You know, I come from a upbringing where, I was in the streets at one point and I made bad choices. There was a lot of decisions I made that I learned from my mistakes and I understand what not to do. I have matured to a whole nother level. At one point in life, a lot of things would get to me. I would respond to things that I know I shouldn't. I don't smoke, I don't drink. And at one point in my life, I smoke and drink all the time. I always was lit, you know, I was outside. Now I feel like I matured a lot and I learned a lot. Today was a great day to receive something that I've been waiting for a long time. And some people may know, but it's a lot of people that don't know. I've been working on getting the pardon, and today was the day that I received the pardon from the governor. I am no longer a convicted felon. Yeah, I put the work in, I changed my life, my lifestyle, I focused, and I applied for the pardon. I felt like it was time in this journey. At one point, I had different situations that I've been in. I had one felony conviction. You know, when I was 19, I was arrested for first degree murder and arson. And I went to trial for that when I was 21. I was found guilty of arson. I wasn't found guilty of murder. And I was sentenced to 3 years and I had to do 2 years of probation. The only felony conviction I had. This was 21 years ago. Now, I always wanted to apply for the pardon, to clean my record up so I can have a fresh slate. 3 years ago, I applied for the pardon. 2 years ago, I went to the pardon board, and the board, they agreed to give me a pardon. But the prosecutor wasn't in agreement. He opposed, right? So the governor at the time said no. They said I had to wait 15 months to come and reapply for the pardon. And that's what I did. I reapplied for the pardon. And 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, I went to the pardon board and the board agreed again. But this time, the prosecutor didn't oppose. And I was granted a pardon. I just received it in the mail today. I'm happy. I'm overwhelmed with joy. All of the things I've been through and how positive my life is now, I'm blessed to be able to have the mind frame and be clear and understand how to move forward without putting myself in a lot of the situations I put myself in. Anybody that is trying to get a pardon, how you would apply for the pardon, the first thing you would do is go get your fingerprints. You know, you can apply for the pardon online. You know, the application is right on there. You can fill the application out, print it out, take it to the building where they could tell you to take the pardon to, because it's different places for, I guess, different states. But you take the pardon to the building, and you submit it, and then you have a hearing. And when you go to the hearing, you get up there and you explain why you think you should have a pardon. You know, but it has to be a certain amount of time before you apply for the pardon if they're really going to consider it for you. You know, I would recommend 3 to 4 years at least after you've been convicted or released from incarceration. You know, but I'm just happy. You know what I mean? Shout out to all y'all that be rocking with the channel. You know, your boy Deezy, like, I feel good. I'm no longer a convicted felon, you know, and I put the work in. You know, I did all the right steps to get this done, and my mind is clear. Can't nobody get me outside of the space that I'm in mentally, you know, for whatever reason. You know, a lot of people, you know, wish on your downfall. They hope you don't do good. They don't want to see you successful, but it's all up to you. You know, you got the ability. And I hope that, you know, by me saying this to some others, it encourages people. You know, I was a convicted felon for 21 years off of one felony conviction. Now I'm no longer a convicted felon. You know, I'm able to get all my rights back. Yeah, I'm proud of myself, you know, but you got to want to do it. Nobody else can want it for you. It's something that you got to want to do, you know. In life, we all got the ability to make choices, decisions, and you got to make the decisions that's best for you. And a lot of times, you know, we surround ourselves around people that aren't really in our best interest. You know, they could be people that you come up with, you know, people that you know for a long time, but they might not have your best interest. You know, your boy Deezy, I made it through, man. I received the pardon. Yeah. I'm no longer a felon. I'm blessed. Anybody that's going through something in your life, just know that it will get better. Everything shall pass, no matter what it is. It's going to pass. Nothing is going to last forever. You know, some things feel like they're the end of the world. Some things you feel like, I don't know what I'm going to do. It'll work itself out. It's a thing called life, you know. Sometimes you're stressing about things you can't control, you can't do nothing about. But you can do something about it. Just keep working in the right direction, you know. Yeah, shout out to all y'all that rock with the channel, SBGB TV. Man, I appreciate y'all. And I'm blessed. Blessed by the best, you know. I'm going to keep grinding. I'm here. And y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Deezy. It's not about the setback. It's about the get back. Now.